Hello everybody. Today in this session we're going to talk about creating a new project and adding a map to our project. So let's open ArcGIS Pro and we'll start with a blank template. We'll start just from scratch and we'll add in our own items as we need them. So I'll go start without a template. It'll create a brand new project for us. Now we can save this project now or we can save it later. I usually like to save it now, so I'm going to select project. I'm going to click save as and find a location in which to save my project, and I'm going to give that project folder a name. I'll call it my project. Click save and it'll create a brand new project for us. Notice that in File Explorer, in that same location, it now created a folder for your new project, and inside that project folder you will have a number of different files. One is your geodatabase. This is called your default file geodatabase. It's got an index folder, and of course your project file. This is your APRX file. So this is the project file that ArcGIS Pro opens and contains all of the links and information to your new project. Now let's go back to ArcGIS Pro. Notice that this project is completely empty. There's nothing listed in the contents pane. So what we're going to want to do first, if we're creating a 2D, a two-dimensional map, we will need to go to the Insert tab and insert a new map. New maps are for two-dimensional data only, so I will add in my first new map. It will create a new map for me and list it in the table of contents. So notice that the default map is listed. It's given me a default base map. I can change this if I want. I can turn it off and turn it back on. I can remove it completely and add in a new base map if I want. So I've got some other base maps I can use here. I'll go with the standard topographic for now. So what we have in the table of contents is a new map. It's completely empty. There's no data added to it. We will add some data to it later, but before you add any data to your new map, you should check some of the properties for your map. So you can do that by right-clicking on the map and going to Properties, and in the Properties box there'll be a number of different categories that we can check. So in your General tab you have things like the display units. If you're using metric data or something like that, you might want to go with meters. You can change that up if you like. There's some other information as far as the zoom extents. You can change that up as well, but we're going to focus on coordinate systems. So before you load any data into your new map, you should set the coordinate system that you want to work with. So you will need to know what type of data you're working with, and if I take a look at the files I might want to import, let's say I want to use some of these Utah shape files we looked at earlier. Well, I can set the coordinate system that's associated with the state of Utah. So for instance, I could come down to projected. I've got two categories of coordinate systems, geographic and projected. Geographic means lat and long geographic coordinates in decimal degrees, and I've got a number of different systems here that I can work with. If you want to work with a projected system, which is preferred on our two-dimensional map, we'll go to the projected coordinate system. So you can pick a number of different types of coordinate systems listed here. For Utah, for instance, I can go to state plane. I'll pick the datum in this case. So let's say I wanted to use a NAD 83 datum. I will scroll down till I find Utah, and I will select that as my coordinate system for this map. So I have a number of different Utah systems here. I'll pick the Utah Central and say OK. And notice how that's going to change the representation of my map. It projects it slightly different, but my data should come in somewhere around here when I eventually bring that in. As I mentioned before, I only have one map in this project, but if I choose, I can have multiple maps. So I can go back to the Insert tab and go New Map and bring in another new map, and you'll notice that my map at the top here is loaded. So I have two different maps. My first map is in a state plane coordinate system. My new map will be in a geographic lat and long coordinate system that I can change. So I can have as many maps loaded in a project as I want, and I can project them all differently if I choose. If I would like to rename a map, I can simply select it, and in the table of contents, click on it once, and then call it any name that I prefer. So you can have all of these different maps named differently. That's about it. Don't forget to save your project. This will save any changes that you've made. Thanks for watching. Bye now.